If you'd like to get a second citizenship relatively quickly, like in a matter of months, if you'd like to remove a lot of the red tape and the lack of certainty, you want effectively a guarantee, but you have not liked the idea of making a donation to one of the Caribbean citizenship programs where you give $100,000 or $150,000 to get a citizenship, well, there's a new program in a country that wants to reduce its government debt level in the wake of the coronavirus outbreak, and they're offering a deal that I think some people might want to consider. We'll share this new citizenship option with you right now. Hey guys, I'm Andrew Henderson here at Nomad Capitalist. We help successful entrepreneurs and investors go where they're treated best. We do that with lower taxes in offshore jurisdictions. We do that with second citizenships that protect and expand your options, new investment ideas in new frontiers. You can learn more at nomadcapitalist.com. But let's talk about a new citizenship option, because I'm always keeping my eye out for options. This is one of the things that we do internally on our research team, is we're always checking close to 100 countries. Are there residence programs? Are there citizenship programs? There are a lot of interesting programs out there, especially if you're willing to wait anywhere from 1 to 5 years to get a passport. But if you're in a hurry, there's a new option that I think is worth considering. And that is on the Caribbean island of St. Lucia. Now, I've been through the St. Lucia Citizenship program. I'm a proud St. Lucian. It is a program that certainly is a bit more restrictive in terms of who they let in. You can't just be anybody. You have to be very clean. They are more particular than some of the other countries that do this. But if you are someone with a clean record, clean bill of health, it is a pretty good program, I think. And the donation is $100,000. It's one of the two least expensive programs in the Caribbean if you're a single person just looking to make a donation and be done with it. But what they've had is a little discussed second option for a couple of years now that was never talked about because it just wasn't really that interesting. And so what that option was if you invest $500,000 into St. Lucian government bonds, zero coupon bonds, so you don't make any interest on them, and you hold those for a number of years, you can make that bond investment instead of making the donation. Now, from an opportunity cost point of view, $500,000 in bonds at 0%, from a country that is not, AAA credit rated, this is not Singapore, that wasn't as interesting. Plus, on top of that, you had a processing fee that got up to about $50,000, if I recall correctly. So where it wasn't even the $100,000 you were saving, it was $50,000 you were saving, and you had to hold the things for 5 or 6 years, and just really wasn't worth it. Okay, unless you just had tons and tons and tons of cash and you just didn't care. Well, now what they've done in response to the COVID-19 situation is they've effectively not only reduced the investment, but reduced the fee, and they've actually waived a couple of the fees as well. We'll stay focused on the broad strokes here, but basically, instead of $500,000 investment, it's now $250,000. And actually, you can use that $250,000 investment for an entire family, whereas before, I think they had different thresholds. It would go up above the $500,000. So now it's $250,000, and now you can process yourself or the family for about $30,000. Now, if you have a whole bunch of people in the family, then they start adding on fees at a certain point. But for most single people or couples, or even if you've got a child or two, you're looking at about $30,000 in fees. So you're saving $70,000 in sunk costs, but actually more than that because there are other sunk costs on top of the $100,000. There are processing fees and all that. So you're saving yourself, close to 6 figures in exchange for investing this $250,000 in government bonds. Now again, still zero coupon, you're not going to make any interest, but we ran the math on this and we basically figured that you're looking at somewhere between 5 and 6% return on your money opportunity cost. So, if you're invested in cryptocurrency right now and you think that your cryptos are going to go, 1,000% in the next couple of years, then this is probably not for you. What I've often told crypto people is if you're doing CBI, citizenship by investment, you just make the donation, right? Because your opportunity cost in something like that, or if you're in some kind of high-flying, fast-growing e-commerce business or something, just make the donation, walk away, don't worry about it, don't think about it, don't buy the real estate, just pay and move on, right? But if you have some liquidity, if you have some money sitting around, interest rates have obviously gone substantially down in light of COVID-19. And if you're the kind of person who is keeping your money in, good, solid banks, for example, or if you're keeping your money in other government debt, you're not making much more than zero anyway, or you may be making less than zero. And so if you have some kind of liquidity, tying up this money for between 5 and 7 years may be of interest to you. So for a single person, it's going to be 5 years, up to 7 years, depending on your family size. You can choose to invest up to $300,000 to then shorten that. But if you're just applying on your own, $250,000, 5 years, there's your opportunity cost. And so basically for the delta of what you would pay in the donation and what you'd actually invest here, and the difference in the sunk costs, again, it came out to about 5.5%. So if you think you can make 5.5% on that particular part of money, then you should probably just go out and invest that. Obviously, you could put a beta, you could put a risk metric on that 5.5% for the fact of who knows what's going to happen to the stock market, for example, in the coming couple of years. You might lose money in some of the stuff that you might do. And so making zero and getting a passport out of it may not be the worst deal. But these are the kind of exercises that I work through with folks when I'm talking to them. Obviously, citizenship by investment isn't the only way to get a passport. It's not even the only way to get it done quickly. There's fast-track naturalization, there's normal naturalization, there's citizenship by descent. We want to consider all these programs. But if you've been standing on the sidelines and you've been looking at citizenship by investment in particular because it is commoditized, if you're a good person, you're probably going to get in, right? As long as you're not from one of a couple of countries like Iran, as long as you haven't been sued into the Stone Age, or you're not a criminal, or you're not dying of typhoid or something, they're probably going to accept you, right? That's what they're trying to do. And so if you've been looking at that and saying, as some people that I have worked with do say, I don't like wasting the money, I don't entirely agree with it, the money's being wasted. You're either buying an insurance policy, which if you're wealthy enough, who cares? Or if you get some kind of immediate, tax benefit, for example, from it, you'll probably make a lot more than the donation. But at least now you've got a second option. At least now you've got the ability to say, all right, donate the money now, forget about it, or tie up the money, again, hope that the government, pays it, hope that they repay the bond investors with that zero interest. I get my money back in 5 or 6 years. And now I've saved some money. So 2 factors to consider. There are going to be more options like this on how to get your citizenship. What I don't think you'll see is the actual donations for single applicants going down. I don't think you'll see a lot of that. If you do, it'll be slight. Okay? What you have seen in St. Lucia is if you're a married couple, they just put a temporary $25,000 discount on it. Sometimes those temporary discounts turn out to be rather permanent. So we'll have to see what happens. But again, if you have liquidity, this is one of the options that you can look at. Government bonds, get your money back, worth taking a look at among all of the options available. How can Nomad Capitalist help you? 4 ways. Number 1, subscribe to our channel and click the notification bell to make sure you get our new video every day. Number 2, get a copy of Nomad Capitalist, the book. You'll learn a lot of my personal experiences over a dozen years of studying this stuff, as well as exactly some of the strategies that you can use to build your Nomad Capitalist plan. Number 3, if you're not sure where to start, but you want to come and learn from my team and I, you want to come and mingle with like-minded people, learn more about our live conference, Nomad Capitalist Live. It's coming up soon. And number 4, if you want some help right now because you've got a burning issue, you need something solved, you want to lower your taxes, get a second passport, or build the Nomad Capitalist lifestyle of your dreams, go to nomadcapitalist.com and click on Become a Client.